So next up, we are going to solve using proportions, or solve the proportion equations. Proportion equations are when we have one fraction equal to another fraction. We say that they are proportional because we have one fraction equaling another. They should represent the same amount overall. The most common way to solve a proportion is to cross multiply. The important thing you want to remember when you cross multiply is that when you get the two parts, meaning we're going to do one part, then another part, those two products will be equal to each other. There shouldn't be any fractions left when you actually cross multiply. You also want to make sure you distribute when that's appropriate. So when we do x plus 5 times 4, 4 is going to multiply with both pieces of x and 5. When we do 2 times the 3x minus 4, that's going to be distributed to the 3x minus 4. So you want to make sure that you are going to multiply everything of those two pieces. So over here, we're going to get 4x plus 20 is equal to 6x minus 8. And once you're done with that, you basically have one of the equations that we saw in part A. So we're talking about all the directions up here. We're going to start to distribute and combine all of our like terms and decide if we have a linear or a quadratic equation and continue to solve using those steps. So when I combine my x's and my other constants together, I'm going to subtract 4x. And then I'm also going to add 8 to both sides. It's going to look like 28 is equal to 2x. I have one term with an x, so I'm going to divide by 2 and come up with an answer of 14. Now in this other example, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to cross multiply. So that means I'm going to do x plus 3 times x plus 7. This is what it looks like when you write out that multiplication. And it's going to be equal to what we get from the other side, or from the other cross multiplication, 6 times 10. So over here on the right-hand side, we get a total of 60. But this other side, we have a lot of work to do to figure out what this is equal to. And many of you are familiar with the box method to try to multiply all this out. So we have x plus 3 across the top and x plus 7 across the side. We get a total of x squared plus 10x plus 21. And now we're following the same steps that we did in part A. We've distributed, we're going to combine our like terms and decide how we're going to solve from that. So I'm going to subtract 60 from both sides. And when I look at this equation I'm left with, I have two different x terms that cannot be combined. So this means that I have a quadratic. I'm going to use factoring or quadratic formula to keep going from here. Factoring. We're multiplying to get negative 39 and adding up to be 10. Looks like a positive 13 and a negative 3 would fit nicely. So this is a shortcut PS2. So this is going to look like x plus 13, x minus 3. But you can always use your grouping strategy or the reverse box method to try to factor that. So we're factored. We're now going to set each one equal to 0 to come up with our answers. First factor gives us an answer of negative 13. The second factor gives us an answer of 3. So two answers for this particular problem.